Her jaw was tight, his voice was louder than the crystal chandelier, and the first thing out of his mouth cut the whole room open. 10 years of silence, and you still stand there like a statue, Tala, a ghost in my house. Speak now. The words hit like a slap, and the hall went cold. Everyone heard it. No one moved. Eliana Reddick stood at the base of the grand stairs, slim in a pale dress that cost more than most cars. She did not flinch. She did not blink. She had not spoken in 10 years, not since the bridge took her mother and left her voice. Behind, her eyes were calm in a way that scared people. Not calm like peace. It's calm like a locked door. Calvin Reddick owned half the skyline, funded hospitals, and paid for miracles. Yet in that moment, his power looked useless. Anger was not. Cruelty. It was grief with nowhere to go. He was a man who had fought wars he could name, and one war he could not win was inside his own home. Tonight was meant to be a charity gala, a shining night of good deeds. Instead, it turned into a public wound. The guests stood in gold and silk, their smiles folding into silence. They had watched Eliana drift for years, watched Calvin pour money into doctors and therapists, watched the family grow quieter, and still they said nothing. Wealth taught them that discomfort is a problem to step around. At the far end of the hall, Malik Carter entered, carrying a tray of glasses, shoulders narrow but steady. He was 12, maybe 13, with brown skin and eyes that had learned too early what hunger sounds like. He was here because his mother's medicine did not pay for itself, and because the world did not care about his age. Not tonight. He stopped when he saw Eliana's face. It was not blank. It was crowded, like a room with all the lights off. Malik knew that look. When the family was left with a quiet that felt heavier than any shout, Malik had stayed mute for months, not because he had nothing to say, but because saying it would make it real. Calvin's voice rose again, raw and shaking. I gave you everything, every doctor, every chance. Are you even trying to come back to us? The words hung in the air, ugly and desperate. A security guard started forward, already ready to remove whoever might cause trouble. Malik set the tray down, clean and careful. Then he took a step toward the staircase like the floor belonged to him too. His voice came out steady, not loud, not soft. It's just real. Sir, you should not talk about her like that. The room snapped to attention, heads turned. Fast. The kind of fast that comes when a small person dares to correct a powerful one. A woman in pearls reached for Malik's arm, already whispering that he was out of place. Malik moved out of her touch without looking at her. Calvin stared. At him, stunned that a boy in a service uniform had dared to speak. Who are you to say anything in my house? Malik did not drop his gaze. A person, same as her. She is not broken. She is hurting. Eliana's eyes shifted, barely a flicker, but Malik caught it. For the first time that night, something in the billionaire's face paused. Not because he agreed, because the boy spoke like someone who understood pain without needing permission. Malik looked at Eliana, not at Calvin. You do not have to talk to be heard. But you do not deserve to be blamed for being quiet. Grief does not move on a schedule. It sits inside you until your body learns how to hold it. The words were simple, but they landed right where Eliana lived, inside. Her was the bridge again, the smell of rain. The red balloon tugging at her wrist, her mother's hand slipping away. The scream she gave that day had been the last sound she trusted. After that, every word felt like betrayal. If she spoke, she feared her mother would be gone again. If she stayed quiet, she could pretend the moment never ended. Malik climbed one step and sat lower than Eliana, close enough to be there, far enough not to trap her. I stopped talking when my dad died. Thought if I stayed quiet, the world would not notice he was missing. But love does not leave because you speak. It stays because you do. Eliana's fingers tightened on the fabric of her dress, then loosened. A tear slipped down her cheek. It was small, but it was the loudest thing in the room. Calvin's breath broke. His face changed, not into pride, not into control, but into a father seeing his child for the first time in a long time. He stepped closer slowly. Eliana, I am sorry. I miss her too. I did not know how to carry it. The guests lowered their eyes. Some looked ashamed. Some looked afraid. The truth was finally happening in front of them, and silence felt like a crime. Eliana stared. At her father's hands, the same hands that once held her shoulder on bike rides, the same hands that held her mother's casket, same hands shaking now. She felt the wall in her throat crack, not from force, but from being seen without judgment. Her lips parted. Air came in like it had been waiting years to return. Dad, Dad won. Words small, shaky, but alive. Calvin fell to his knees at the foot of the stairs, not like a billionaire, not like a soldier, but like a man whose heart just found oxygen. His voice came out thin. You are here. You are here. I was so scared you were gone. Eliana swallowed, and her voice stumbled forward again. I could not breathe with it inside. I thought it was my fault. I thought if I spoke I would lose her all. Over Calvin reached for her hand, slow and careful, as if her voice was something fragile. You do not have to carry that alone. Yes. Never again. Malik stood up and stepped back quietly. He did not smile big. Ouch. He did not look for praise. He had just watched a door open that had been locked by pain for 10 long years. In the hall, people rose too, their feet one by one, not to clap, not to make a scene, but to honor the moment with stillness. The kind of stillness that says, we saw you. We heard you. We were wrong to stay quiet. Days later, Eliana spoke more. Some days only a little, some days a lot. Not because she was forced, because she felt safe enough to return. The doctors called it a breakthrough. Calvin called it a second chance. Eliana called it Malik. A week after the gala, Malik opened a plain envelope at his kitchen table beside his mother. Inside was a scholarship, full medical support for his mom. It's a short note written in careful handwriting. Thank you for seeing me when everyone else watched. Malik read it once. Then again he folded it like something important. Some people change a life with money, and some change it with courage that fits inside a boy's chest. If this story touched you, comment where you are watching from. Tell us what moment hit you the hardest, if you believe silent strength deserves respect. Subscribe for more stories that honor the battles people fight without making a sound.